Mini-boss number 1 for Treasure Map vs Bonney is extremely easy, it will be Side Chopper. We are going to use the new login bonus Luffy as double captain, and he can literally deal with everything. We are going to use both of his specials to remove the 6 turns of damage reduction and threshold. With his limit break ability maxed out, he completely removes the hunger. And then with his EX super, if you have access to it, he can manipulate all of the block slots into RCV. This specific team does not have access to it because I wanted to use Law for the higher multiplier, but we do have Zoro and Sanji here to manipulate the block slots with their super swap. You obviously do not need Zoro Sanji or Super Sugofest Law in your team. You can literally have 4 unique Straw Hats, Login Luffy deals with everything and you're good to go. But for my specific team, the multiplier is around 5.71 times. Mini-boss number 2 will also be extremely simple, it will be Dex Brook. We are going to use free-to-play legend Ace as our captain, and then our friend captain will be 5+ Newgate, essentially the last Treasure Map Super Evolution, Strength free-to-play Newgate, and that combo deals with everything on the stage. My Ace specifically is Super Evolved and Level Limit Break 3, but you don't need that. You just need him Super Evolved so he can actually remove the chain coefficient reduction and the attack down under specific chain debuffs completely. Also, if you don't have Ace and you don't want to invest in him like at all, you can just use him as friend captain, that will also work. Then you can have Newgate as your captain and just replace the missing spot with whatever helps you or provides a better multiplier for your team. Generally what will happen is, first of all, Ace as captain with his Super Evolved captain ability will remove both of the chain debuffs. Newgate will remove the burn with his 2 special activations, that's why we are using him as a crewmate and a friend captain. Both Ace and Newgate reduce our HP, so the stun will be removed from our crewmates. And finally, Newgate can also deal with the enemy's barrier for us to super easily beat the boss. They will also increase our damage, and the rest of the units are essentially filler here. Kinemon and Toki are only here for their multiplier, you can replace them with whatever you like. And Pirate King Adventures 5+ Luffy is here to provide us with a full board of matching slots. If you have Ace level limit break 4, you of course do not need someone like that. And if you don't, 5-star Luffy or anyone else for matching slots also works. For my specific team though, the multiplier will be around 6.63 times. Mini-boss number 3 will be Strength, Franky and Usopp, and this mini-boss is structured around the new super evolution of V2 Kaido and also the newest Kizuna unit, Albert. In case you are wondering, if you don't have Albert super evolved yet, yes, it is fine to use his 5-star version instead. What will essentially happen in this quest is this. First, we will activate Albert, so he cuts our crew's HP by 60% and gives Kaido super type access. He will also reduce both threshold and damage reduction by 3 turns and increase our damage. Then we activate one Kaido special and super type to completely remove the enemy's defensive effects, both threshold and damage reduction, gain damage and a full board of guaranteed matching slots, manipulating the unfavorable ones from the preemptive. Then we attack, super easily defeat Franky Usopp, and when they revive, they will damage us, allowing Kaido to activate his special again automatically. And since we are silenced and we cannot do any actions, that's all we need to defeat them again for good. Literally everyone else on the team is filler, you can replace them with whatever you like. You can use other Q units, units for better multiplier, or whatever you want. Essentially we have Pirate King Adventures Newgate, who is free to play, can also help with damage a bit. And the Super Sugofest units, obviously you do not need them, you can replace with whatever you like. For my specific team though, the multiplier will be around 6.66 times. Mini-boss number 4 will be Side Jinbe, another pretty easy mini-boss to be honest. What I am going to do here is use V2 6+ Shanks as my captain. If you have him maximum level limit break and he can remove 6 turns of paralysis, you don't need lime juice or a paralysis removing support. If you don't, you can use a paralysis removing support or just replace Smoker if you don't have lime juice with a paralysis remover. Smoker is just a filler unit, he doesn't have any use in the team. For your friend captain now, Bonney, the new legend Bonney, is technically the perfect friend captain, but because I am going to use her for the intrusion, and maybe you cannot find a lot of Bonnies to just use in 2 different bosses, you can also use Treasure Map legend Blackbeard. That Blackbeard will be used to remove the bind from the crewmates. Bonney will do the same, and of course if you are using Bonney, you also do not need a paralysis removing support, since Bonney will remove both bind and paralysis herself. With Bonney you also have a higher damage output, but it's really not that important. Whoever you can find as friend captain you can use. Obviously with Bonney you will have a higher multiplier as well. Now for the crewmates, as I said, Smoker is just filler. Jinbe is here to provide us with threshold to survive the after defeat hit. Treasure Map free to play Film Red Sanji is here because with his special we can gain more damage and he removes the damage nullification shield, more importantly. And finally, this Halloween Treasure Map free to play Nami is here because with maximum level limit break, she needs that by the way, she can remove the enemy's barrier completely. If you don't want to waste the resources on Nami to max level limit break her, then you can just break the barrier if you want, but the problem here will be that the boss makes our perfects easier to hit and the barrier needs 2 good hits in order to break, but it is definitely still doable. And you of course also have the option to replace Nami with someone else that can reduce the enemy's barrier by 1 turn. With Blackbeard as a friend captain and this specific team, the multiplier will be around 4.03 times, but with Bonney as a friend captain and the same team, the multiplier increases to 4.51 times. Versus the main boss of this treasure map, Bonney, I am going to use V1 Bonney as captain, and this team will actually be very specifically built around the new treasure map rare recruit Sanji to maximize my multiplier because I pulled him. I will use him as a crewmate and as a friend captain. This team is very strict, it will be very hard to find workarounds and replacements, but do not worry, I will also offer you an alternative team after this one. First of all, we need all these 3 supports. We are going to use Legend Ulti on Arena Sasaki to reduce Despair in the final stage. The same goes with Colosseum Opera on our Sanji. Valentine Nami also works. And then we need free-to-play Pedro on Carrot Wanda to reduce attack down in stage 2. That way, when we activate Jinbe, he will be able to completely remove attack down. First of all, in stage number 2, we want to activate Wanda, and we also want to enter on Wanda from Carrot Wanda because Carrot doesn't get special cooldown reduction. We also do not want to super swap the unit, only to activate Wanda so we can give Jinbe his special back. We will on top of that get an Ore boost. Then we activate Jinbe, he will remove attack down, he will remove defense up, and provide 3 guaranteed int slots on our left column units so we can break the barrier with ease. After Jinbe, we want to activate our friend captain treasure map rare recruit Sanji, so he can provide us with a 3-turn attack boost, which will help us with damage in this stage, but more importantly, it will actually help us evade the low attack boost Bonney would provide us in the final stage. Going into the final stage now, we don't get the low attack boost. We want to activate Bonney's special. She will reduce the enemy's defense to 0. There's no defense down immunity, which is great. And she will also provide us with the chain lock. Now, that chain lock will proc the enemy's interruption, and that will remove all of our beneficial effects, which essentially isn't really anything, we don't have much, and then slot bind us. Now, the thing is, with slot bind, this team cannot manipulate block slots either way, so it does us a favor, but if you don't have Bonney, you can use Sanji as double captain, and then replace Bonney with someone that can perhaps either remove the defense up or reduce the enemy's defense by 100% again, but you should also find a way to manipulate the block slots to matching. The team with binded slots, because they will be treated as neutral, will still get the job done. And Bonney is also a better captain than Sanji. We are not planning to get an ore boost either way because of the intimidation. After that, we are going to activate Sasaki twice. We need his double special activation. He will reduce despair by 5 turns, and then he will also provide us with a color affinity boost for our int units. Finally, we are also going to activate the remaining Sanji special, the crewmate one, so Opera or Valentine Nami also activate to reduce despair, and he will provide us with an attack boost. So now we have removed the entirety of despair because it is 12 turns, 3 turns gone from sockets, 9 turns, 5 from Sasaki, 4 turns, and 2 from Multi and Opera respectively. Despair is completely gone. The multiplier of this team will be around 11.1 times. The alternative team versus the main boss will be this one. I will use Bon Clay as captain and the new Lilith or Dr. Vegapunk as friend captain, and I focused on this team being full cerebral when I was making it, so Lilith can gain access to her super type. Of course, Bon Clay isn't cerebral, but he can become cerebral in the final stage. If you don't care about the team being full cerebral and getting the super type of Lilith, you can just drift away from that strategy if you are struggling and you want to make replacements. But let's see how the team works. So in stage number 2, again Jinbe will be the MVP, removing defense up, reducing attack down, providing the slots to break the barrier. But before that, we are going to activate Treasure Map Legend Crocodile to allow all of our cerebral units regain their specials. After him, we can activate Jinbe and deal with everything else on the stage. Because Jinbe cannot reduce 6 turns of attack down but only 5 with his 5-star form, we need Morley support. This is Kizuna Rare Recruit Dex Morley on free-to-play Robin, and when attack down appears, he will reduce it by 1 turn. If you want to use another attack down reducing support instead of Morley, feel free to do that if that is possible for your box. Free-to-play Strength Pedro on Carrot Wanda, for example, still works. I just didn't want to use the same combination for both teams. And if you are at the point where you super evolved Jinbe, you obviously do not need an attack down removing support anymore because the super evolved version of Jinbe completely removes it. In stage 2, we can also super swap Wanda to Carrot to get an attack boost for everyone and easily beat the mini-boss after breaking the barrier, of course. And have in mind, we want to enter on Wanda because entering on Carrot does not provide our unit with special cooldown reduction. Going to the final stage now, when we activate Lilith, I think she can remove the low attack boost. She won't provide us with a stackable attack boost, but that is fine. But to do that, our captain needs to be cerebral, so don't activate Lilith immediately. What we want to do first is activate the special and super type of Bon Clay. Bon Clay will manipulate the block slots, will provide us with a base attack boost. We want to turn him into an int cerebral unit, and his super type will provide us with an uninterruptible chain lock, so we can completely ignore the chain coefficient reduction. Now we want to activate Lilith for her to reduce despair, deal with the low attack boost if possible, and then with her super type we can gain a normal attack boost. Then we want to activate Wanda to reduce the opponent's defense to 0, and that way we can ignore the defense up and just attack through it. Of course, the enemy doesn't have defense down immunity. And finally, we want to activate free-to-play Robin. Make certain to activate her after Carrot Wanda, because Robin can also provide defense down, but not for 100%. We want the Carrot Wanda one. But Robin is important on the team because number 1, she's cerebral with the attack down removing support, and she can remove the remaining despair after Lilith and Sockets take action. In case you don't care about using a full cerebral team, here are some quick replacement options. For Robin and the attack down reducing support, you can use Arena Sasaki with his double special activation. You will use Sasaki once in stage 2, and the second time in stage 3 versus the main boss. So not only can he reduce the attack down, so Jinbe can remove it, he can also actually reduce despair, and that way with Lilith and sockets it will be removed completely. But if you are using Sasaki, Crocodile won't work to provide his special back in stage number 2 anymore. So now you want someone else to provide you with your specials back instead of Crocodile. Carrot Wanda would fit that role perfectly if you do have them. If you don't have Carrot Wanda now, you want someone to give you your specials back in stage 2, and you also want someone to reduce the enemy's defense by 100% in the final stage, or you generally want someone to deal with the defense up. Of course, Jinbe is necessary, and I think the same goes for Bon Clay because his super type deals with the chain coefficient reduction, and he can also manipulate block slots while increasing our damage and being a very strong captain. And I would say if you also want to replace him, you should probably try and find another team or rebuild it from scratch. With these specific units though, and Lilith as our friend captain, the multiplier will be around 5.1 times. Finally, versus the Intrusion Battle, I have a super free-to-play friendly team for you. We are going to use the new login bonus Luffy as captain, and our friend captain will be the new legend Bonney. She is extremely useful to not use here, so definitely try and find a friend captain. And this is how the team will work. First of all, we have access to both Bonney's super type and Luffy's EX super. And in stage number 2, what we want to do first is activate Nami. Nami, side free-to-play Nami, needs to be at maximum level limit break, so she can reduce paralysis and bind by 5 turns, and alongside sockets and V1 Rayleigh support on Luffy, both of the debuffs will be completely removed. So the 6 turns of paralysis, 5 from Nami and the 1 extra turn from Rayleigh, and for the bind 5 turns of removal from Nami, 2 from Rayleigh and 3 from sockets is more than enough. I will also activate Sanji here in stage number 2, the Treasure Map Rare Recruit, to get 3 turns of an attack boost, which can carry over of course in the final stage where attack boosting is interruptible. But if you don't have him, it's not a problem. You can use Cypher to play Sanji with double special activation for example, or whatever you want to help you with utility damage or your multiplier. You don't really need anyone specific for Luffy's EX super since everyone else on the team provides it to him anyway. We are going to need that EX super in stage 2, it will help us get the full board of RCV slots and increase our damage as well. And for hunger, if your Luffy has his limit break ability to reduce hunger maxed out, he will reduce 2 turns, and then if your friend Captain Bonney has the limit break ability unlocked, they combined will completely remove it. Now, if your friend Captain Bonney is not limit broken or doesn't have the hunger limit break ability or whatever, or even if your Luffy only has 1 turn and you get the 1 extra from Bonney, you can just consume some RCV slots in order to completely remove hunger and you to do normal damage. Generally try and consume RCV slots. Bonney's captain ability also allows us to do that with perfects, which is awesome. And that way, not only can we remove hunger, we can also heal back up after the preemptive HP cut in stage 2, because pain will appear in the final stage. In the final stage, we want to activate Luffy and Bonney first, since our crewmates will be binded. Bonney will also heal us, which is great, and she will provide a conditional attack boost, then with her super type, she can provide guaranteed matching slots and apply increased damage taken. Luffy can provide a color affinity boost, and then we are going to use Jinbe of course, who will remove the attack down, and Brook with his double special activation can completely remove resilience, or Brook with 1 activation and then some kind of a support that can reduce the 1 extra turn of resilience. That is also another solution in case pain is too much to handle. Brook needs to be at maximum level limit break though, with his double special activation access if you want to activate him twice to completely remove the resilience. And something else to also have in mind, because with the attack boost there is a random captain swap, we don't want that to happen, so do not use an attack boosting special in case you don't have Sanji, don't say, oh, I will replace him with an attack booster for the final stage. Don't do that. Just don't use an attack boost, it's fine. We don't need one either way because we have Bonney's conditional attack boost. And we actually have the slot bind as well, I forgot about that. We are just not going to deal with it, so the matching slot from Bonney will only be present on units that can actually resist the slot bind, and from this team I think only our Nami can do it. So she will have a matching slot, everyone else will have a neutral one, which will be fine. If the pain proves to be an issue because it is 18,000 damage, we of course have to wait and see how much HP the team will have exactly, and then we can optimize the team if necessary. The pain will be the main issue, I think. Outside of that, everything is pretty straightforward. We do have Bonney's healing though, and the healing from the RCV slots in stage 2, alongside auto heal sockets. Maybe we can add a couple healing supports, or just skip a special like Luffy's, for example, if they are not necessary for utility, but we will have to wait and see. Definitely stay tuned to the channel by subscribing to not miss out on my optimized treasure map teams the day the treasure map comes out for the playthrough guide. If you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful, definitely leave a like, it helps out the channel a lot and I would really appreciate it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.